Twitter and Elon Musk buying it and my thoughts on it. I didn't like it. And the importance of Twitter, because I know some people might come see this. One of my 3 viewers might come see this and be like, who fucking cares? The importance of Twitter is this, again. It helped big time people on Twitter because it was a central gathering point for news stories and commentary on what was going on in the country and for activists and stuff like that. It basically, Twitter was one of the main driving forces in swaying opinion for people that don't do research and just listen to fucking 3-word talking points and phrases as their guide to who they should vote for and how they should think. And in defense of most people, they don't have the time. They got jobs, they got children, they got fucking mortgages. They can't, and that's the way they like it, the people in charge. They don't want you to have time to think and do research and try and find the right path. They want you busy, so you don't have time to do that. Anyway, Twitter was one of the driving factors. I also mentioned that the news channel CNN, whether you like them or not, were one of the main factors. People that came on CNN were one of the main, and a lot of the anchors as well, were one of the main factors pointing out what a con was going on. The con, the literal grift that was going on for 4 fucking years. That's all it was. It was a grift for one rich guy and a bunch of his rich, I guess I'll call them acquaintances, because the entity doesn't actually have any friends. Anyone that benefited from this grifting supported him. For instance, people like Tom Brady, Kanye West got millions of dollars in PPP loans that they knew they would never have to pay back. That's just 2 examples. Many congressmen and senators got these loans as well, and they knew they would never have to pay them back. And what's just utterly disgusting to me is these people are filthy fucking rich. And when the chance came, they all had their hand out for federal tax money, or for tax money from people that actually paid their taxes. People that did not need the money, making up fake, rosters of employees, fake businesses, shit like that, so they could get a few $1 million of taxpayer money, even though they were filthy fucking rich. And I am not talking about the small business owner that had to close down during COVID, that actually needed the money and actually had employees. That is not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about people like Tom Brady, Kanye West, and many fucking others that did not need 1 penny from the federal government. And this always happens in this country. Socialism for the rich, handouts for the rich are not called handouts. They're called loans. And then those loans are forgiven. So what is it essentially? It's welfare for rich people. But if a poor person is starving and has children and needs to go collect welfare, they're looked at as scumbags, and they're looked down upon. They're looked at as the dregs of society. Well, those people, most of you would call scumbags that need welfare to get by because they just don't have enough money. Those people combined will never get as much welfare as rich people do, in the form of government subsidies and handouts whenever there's a crisis in this country, like Tom Brady and Kanye West got. Add all those poor people up, it will never come to the millions and trillions and billions of dollars that rich people get in socialist fucking handouts every year in this country. Anyway, back to Twitter. I basically said in my video that Elon bought Twitter with funding from outside entities, most likely Russia, definitely Saudi Arabia and other places. Why? Because they want a certain political party back in power. And Twitter was one of the things that eliminated that political party's power. Definitely. It's indisputable. So Elon thought he would buy it and fucking ruin it. And then he cried like a bitch when advertisers left. And then he lets, the biggest grifter in history back on the platform. So you have stars leaving. You have advertisers leaving. You have people I respect like George Conway leaving Twitter. I knew it would happen. I knew he would ruin it. And essentially he did it is because the essential reason he did it is because he's a rich guy and he wants fucking tax cuts. And one political party always cuts taxes for the rich. That's the first thing they always do when they get power. It happens every single fucking time. It's called trickle down economics. That's when the rich get all the money and then they piss on you. That's what trickle down economics is. I don't care what they say it is. That's what it is. Because there's been a trend in this country for how many fucking years? No matter how successful the company is, it's always layoffs. It's always, we don't want to pay benefits. It's always, we're not raising pay, but we'll give the CEO $87 million a year. And it's the main goal is we just have to give the shareholders more. Fuck the employees. Fuck the people that actually do the work. It's been that way for many, many years. If you look at the ratio of CEO to entry-level pay, let's say from the 60s, and compare it to now, the now number is a lot higher. In other words, the CEO back in like 1960 didn't get 370 million and the entry-level worker got $8. It'd probably be more like 2 million compared to $8. That's the difference. And that's what's going on. So the main reason Elon wants control of the town square, that's what Twitter is, the town square. It is the town square of the world, is because he wants tax cuts and he wants to help the people get back in power. That will give him those tax cuts. Well, he mostly failed when he endorsed one political party as the owner of Twitter like the day before the midterm elections. He failed for the most part. They really didn't win that many seats, his desired tax cut political party. And when I say tax cuts, I say tax cuts for rich people, not for poor people. That rarely ever happens when this one political party gets in power. So my main point for this video is I already had a lot of respect for Trent Reznor, loved his music. Thought he was a great musician, and Jack White of the White Stripes. I had a lot of respect for him. I enjoyed his music over the years. It's not one of my favorite bands, but it is. He's very talented, and it's something I would listen to from time to time. They both decided to leave Twitter. And what I've seen on Twitter since Musk has taken over is he's a very cringe person. He's a very socially awkward person. And all the money in the world can't make you cool or funny or clever or anything. When you're born rich, you're born rich. And that's all he has going for him. He was born filthy fucking rich, just like the greatest grifter ever was. They're the same people, essentially. So every post by this Elon entity is absolute fucking cringe. He's so desperate to be funny and cool and witty, and it just comes off as absolute fucking cringe. So when Trent Reznor announced recently he was leaving Twitter, the best Elon could do was call him a crybaby or something in a post. This is the owner of Twitter, the richest man in the world, calling someone a crybaby because they don't want to be part of his, website that's quickly devolving into fucking 4chan. It's just so pathetic, so cringe. And when he reinstated the greatest, or the largest, the most grifting entity ever born, when he reinstated that orange person, the orange person decided not to come back. He hasn't tweeted anything because the orange person has his own website and he probably has contractual obligations to the financiers of that website. So he can't come back to Twitter. So you have cringe ass, desperate ass Elon tweeting tempting pictures like of a cartoon character looking at a bottle of pills, labeling the cartoon character as Trump and the bottle of pills as Twitter. In other words, trying to tease the orange entity into tweeting something on Twitter, because that's how desperate and cringe this Elon thing is, this entity. Another post he put up, and these are just a couple examples, I don't have time to go into them all. He posted a picture of Jesus and basically a whore bent over next to Jesus. And he labeled Jesus as Trump, and he put a Twitter icon over the whore's ass, as if, again, making fun, making light of Elon's desperation, and trying to tease Trump into coming back to Twitter. This is how desperate and fucking cringe this Elon entity is. And I want to be clear, this Elon entity is the one who posted that, not someone else. He posted that. So that's how cringe and pathetic and desperate this Elon character is. And as much as I respect Trent Reznor and I love that he left Twitter, I love the way Jack White left Twitter even more, because he basically said what I thought and what I said in my video, at least in part. Jack White wrote this long tweet directed at Elon, saying he's leaving Twitter, that he wants no part of it. And he's just explaining to Elon how terrible and wrong he is. And basically made the point that the only reason Elon is doing all this is for tax cuts, because he wants to keep more of his money, even though he's the richest man on the fucking planet at the moment. Probably not for long, because the Tesla stock is tanking by the fucking day, if you look at the charts. And it couldn't happen to a nicer guy, but that's the point Jack White basically made, that you're doing all of this. You're risking the country, you're risking democracy, you're risking the well-being of a whole country of people, because you want fucking tax cuts, because you don't want to pay your fair share, even though you're the richest fucking thing on the planet. And I could not agree more. That's the main reason why Elon did all this, because he's a filthy rich person who just wants tax cuts. He wants trickle-down economics. And of course, what's the first thing he did when he bought Twitter? He laid off about, 60% of the staff, another another about 25% of the staff literally walked out just recently. That was after the layoffs. And he's going to lay off even more people. So, yeah, when they say billionaires create jobs and all that, they don't. They eliminate a lot of jobs, that's for fucking sure. And if you gave me government subsidies of millions and billions of dollars, I'd create some fucking jobs too. But they'll never give me that. Why they give it to Elon, I don't know. I guess because he's already rich. That seems to be the pattern in America. Perfectly fine to give socialist welfare fucking handouts to rich people that don't need the fucking money. But it's terrible when an average citizen, it would be a terrible idea for let me just pull a number out my ass, to send $20,000 checks to people that make under $100,000 a year. That'd be a terrible idea. That'd be socialism. That'd be evil. That'd be Nazi type stuff, right? But we can give Elon Musk and Tom Brady and Kanye West millions of dollars. That's fine. That's not socialism. That's not bad, because they're loans, right? No, they're not loans. They're straight up fucking welfare handouts for rich people, taxpayer money. And when it comes down to it, the percentage that poor people pay in taxes is more than the percentage that rich people pay in taxes. Does that make sense to you? Does that sound fair to you? No, but that's the trend. That's the tradition, right? And if we ever talk about raising taxes on corporations or rich people, oh my God, that's evil. We can't do that. That's evil. That's what we get told on the news, especially by one political party. People get all mad about it. And dumbasses vote for that. Dumbasses that will never be rich, never be close to rich, will vote for that. Will embolden that. Will argue in favor of it, because it has an R next to it. That's the only reason. They might as well kick their own selves in the dick. They really might as well. But they're stupid. So they'll never get it. They'll never change. I don't expect it to. Anyway, one more point. Again, Jack White, I just could not love more what he said because he just flat out stated the fucking truth. And even though Jack White has a lot of money, and he's probably one of those millionaires that would certainly love to keep more of his money, he's still stating the truth that you're just doing this for fucking tax cuts. You're willing to risk the whole country. You're willing to support liars and grifters and let people that incite violence back on the biggest platform on earth for tax cuts. Anyway, that's all I got to say. And I just big respect to Jack White and Trent Reznor and others. But they're the main two I just wanted to talk about today. I already had respect for these two guys, a lot of respect. Now I have even more. Well done. I wish more influential people would speak up on Twitter instead of worrying about their following, their 6 million followers or whatever the fuck they got. I wish they would flat out come out and say, we also mentioned Joe Rogan as well. I can't stand Joe Rogan, by the way. If he would just stick to talking about MMA and stuff like that, which he knows a lot about and he trains and all that, I respect his opinion on that. Anything else, I don't know. I don't even want to hear what he has to say. His interviews are fucking terrible. He's way too fucking stoned during his interviews. They're ridiculous. It's like a little stoned boy talking to an adult in an interview, and it comes off cringe and stupid, and I never enjoy it. But Rogan's one of those people that has gone right as well. Why? Jack White pointed it out in his comment on Twitter. Because he's a rich guy now. These people are never like this in the beginning. Once their bank account starts getting 6 zeros after it, all of a sudden they want to move right because of tax cuts. That's it. That's why most rich people vote right. Because they like trickle-down economics. They like keeping all their money while dumbasses making 30, 40, 50, 70 a year are paying, 25% in taxes. They love that shit. I don't get it. If I had $100 billion, you think I would give a fuck what I'm paying in taxes? Who cares? You know what I mean? When you got that kind of money, the kind of money you can't spend in a lifetime unless you're a total moron. You know what I mean? Unless you're going to casinos putting down $5 million bets every 3 seconds. Like, that's really the only way you could lose the money. Or doing stupid things like, taking $44 billion out in loans to buy Twitter. Like, that's one way to go bankrupt, but it's not all his money, Elon. So yeah, he mentioned how people like Rogan as well, once they hit it big and they got a lot of money, all of a sudden they're leaning a certain way politically because they just want tax. They don't care the damage it does. That's the thing. They don't care about insurrections and espionage and all that shit. All they care about is, oh man, I need to keep more of my money in my bank account, even though I'm a multi-bazillionaire. Because, I just need more. I don't get it. If I was as rich as Joe Rogan or Elon Musk, I would not give a flying fuck how much I'm paying in taxes. It just wouldn't even matter to me. Anyway, I hope everyone has a great evening.